点就有。
刚刚有看到那个吗？副校长吗？
还没有滑进去，因为我怕他一定要准备开始讲。
期待应该是有。
Hello everyone, it's our next presenter arrived. So our next presentation will begin in 3, 5. Let's welcome Professor Xin-An Yang, Associate Professor from the Department of Financial and Economic Growth, to give the third presentation, Intellectual Property Rights.
Well, the original topic is intellectual property rights, but that will be 3-year courses or programs, so that's big. So I was pondering that how to convey a simple idea of intellectual property to you as a TA to apply in your life, in your work. So I just give you a specific topic, that introduction of intellectual property right, and especially focus on copyright. Okay, and that's useful for you guys. Yes, patent or trademark or trade secrets, they are really important in the modern life, especially patent. But it's probably not really useful for most of you. Maybe part of you, because if you are from labs, you probably need the idea. You probably need to learn the idea of patent, because you need to know how to apply, and maybe you need to know what's the subject of the patent and how to avoid the infringement. But for most of the students in school, the most useful part is copyright. Okay, so my name is Xin-An Yao, and I'm from the Department of Financial and Economic Law, and my major, of course, is intellectual property right. So let me introduce you simple ideas today. Then there are two major categories or kinds of intellectual property right now. And first of all is copyright and patent and trademark and trade secret. And the first one, patent, is about invention, right? So the definition here is a patent is an exclusive right granted for an invention, which is a product or a process that provides, in general, a new way of doing something or offers a new technical solution to a problem. To get a patent, technical information about the invention must be disclosed to the public in a patent application. So that's the key point. Yes, if you want to control the market of certain technology, you can apply for a patent. And when you are granted the patent right, then you can use it for maybe, the longest is maybe 20 years. But after that, you need to give up the technology and let all the people and companies use that technology. So in some situation or in some in a certain time, maybe the company don't want to give up the technology or disclose the content of the technology. So they probably won't choose this kind of right to hold. Okay? But that's one kind of intellectual property right. And the second one is trademark. Let's talk about trade secret first. So if you don't want to give up the information, confidential information or certain technique you hold, the second choice is trade secret. That means you just don't do anything, and to prevent others to know the information, and you're fine. Okay? So that's simple but complicated. Because, for example, like the company of Coca-Cola, they hold a certain element of formula called 7X. And till now, nobody knows what's that, right? And that's the key of the company. So if the information disclosed once, then the company probably won't survive, you know? So trade secret is simple that you just keep it, but it's also hard because you need to prevent the information to be disclosed, all right? Okay, so that's the second one. And the third one is trademark. So I just, you know, the subject matter or the subject protected is mark, right? So that will be any word, phrase, symbol, design, or the combination of those kind of things. And other than that, the smell or the shape of bottle also, you know, can be applied as a trademark. So, for example, like Coca-Cola I just mentioned, the bottle, I don't know, the shape of the bottle is actually trademarked. And another shape of the trademark is, you all see that already, the Taipei 101. Yeah, that's the first shape mark in Taiwan. Okay? But that's just simple introduction for the major three intellectual copyrights. I won't go deep because of the time. So let's go for the fourth one, which is copyright. And what's copyright? The definition from the U.S. Copyright Bureau is copyright is a type of intellectual property. Yeah, sure. That protects original works of authorship as soon as an author finishes the work in a specific form of expression. So the protection of copyright is in the expression of the work, not the object of the work. You know what I mean? So when you paint something, and it's not the object copyright protected, but the expression, the visual form you just created. All right? So let's go to the idea of copyright in Taiwan. In copyright law, what happened? So first of all, let's talk about copyright. The subject matters of copyright, there are like 10 basic kinds, but also an extra one called performance. And first one is oral and literary works. And that's probably the most created copyrighted work in the world before the invention of smartphone. Because after the invention of smartphone, nobody write. Right? Yeah, sure, you write, but you just message. You just, I don't know, briefly write something to communicate, right? But most of the people, they don't write because it's not convenient. You just record your sound. You just, I don't know, you just take the picture and send to the others, and the information just, delivered. So you don't need to write, right? So before the smartphone invented, oral and literary works are the biggest part of the copyright area. So for example, like tangible writing, tangible books, like novels and writings, right? So that's the biggest part, years before. But how about now? the biggest part will be photographic works, created probably millions or trillions a day in the world now. For example, like Ukraine is invaded, then the pictures is sent to the world, and people in Ukraine, they just took pictures and tell everybody what happened, right? So I think according to the amount now, probably the photographic works are the biggest area now. And the second one, probably the audio visual works, that you just use your smartphone and record some motion pictures to people, and that's your work, okay? And also, there are some others like musical works, like musical compositions, right? So if you have some ideas of sounds or like music, you just write on the notes, right? And that's the music work. And also dramatic and choreographic works, like dancing, right? Dancing notes, or the form of dancing, or the motions of dancing, right? So if you finish a series of motions of dancing, then that probably will be a copyrighted work now, okay? So, and also artistic works like water paintings and sculptures, okay, those kinds of things. And what else? Here, pictorial and graphical works is for engineers. Like if you design something, for example, like the structure of bridge or the structure of cars, and you just draw it and on paper, and that probably will be regarded as a copyright work now, okay? And some recordings, you can understand as it is, right? So you just record something, and that probably will be a work. And for example, like there is some artist in Taiwan. He's probably from Poland or somewhere, and he just traveled around the island and to collect a specific kind of sound, the sound of frog. So he just traveled everywhere, for example, like University of Chongqing University, and he just goes to the, I don't know, Back Mountain, we call, and to find a tree frog and record his sound. And if it's completed, then it's a copyrighted work, okay? And architectural works, including the blueprints of the buildings, or the model of buildings, or the building itself, all right? And the computer program, you know already, right? The codings and the combination of codings and I don't know, like, it's originally protected by literary works, but now it's specific categories protected by copyright. And the performance, some people may wonder why, because there is, for example, like choreographic works already, right? So why protect performance as well? And let me take an example, like if you are an artist and music artist, then you create some music composition. You put it on the notes, but you cannot perform it. You just finish the composition, the notes. Then the company hires someone, musician, to play the notes by piano. Then there will be two different copyrights. First of all is the copyright of musical works for the notes. And the second one is the copyright of performance for the musician. So it's understandable, right? Okay. So that's all the subject matters protected in copyright law now. And there are some special forms, but in Hornbook, they call it special forms. But for me, I think it talks about basically like relationship between authors. For example, like joint work. You know already, right? What's joint work? A work created by multiple authors, right? So that's not some such new subject matter. It's a relationship, right? So maybe two people create together a music composition. Then the musical work is created by co-authors, and it's joint work. And also the artwork, like water painting, two artists paint a single painting. And when you finish, there are two authors, co-authors, enjoy one copyright. Okay? And the second one is derivative work, and it's basically involves in adaptation, like when an author created some work, then you just take it and make a new one based on the original work. So for example, like Marvel comic, Spider-Man, I don't know, I don't remember the artist, but some artists draw and create the comics book of Spider-Man. Then the company, I don't know, Universal or someone, then takes the comic and to make it a film about the comic. But it won't be totally the same, right? Because, all Spider-Man story, but yes, maybe the storyline are the same, but the content and the expressions are different. So that's the adaptation, or we call it derivative work, okay, for the second one. And the third one is compilation work, and let's just see the definition. A compilation work is a work formed by the creative selection and arrangement of materials and shall be protected as an independent work. For example, like newspaper. So when a reporter wanted to report something, for example, like the war in Ukraine, for example, then you need to put the photographs of the war, right, about the war, and the description in writings of the news, right? And probably you will put some comments from someone, maybe a scholar or some officials, then the reporter will make the report, including the photographs, the writing of the reporter, and the comments of others, and probably some painting. Then that will be compilation because you put different information or different existing works in one page. Then we call it compilation. Okay? So, that's basically something about compilation work. And, after the subject matter of copyright, let's talk about copyright itself. In Taiwan, it's a bit different from your country, maybe. I don't know. because you're from many different countries. But let's see what happened here. In copyright law, Article 10 provides the author of a work shall enjoy copyright upon completion of the work. So once you finish the work, you enjoy the right. Do you need to register? No need. All right? Then Article 3 provides copyright means the moral rights and economic rights subsisting in a completed work. So I just mark the two phrases there, right? So there are two categories or two sets of rights for copyright in Taiwan. So it's not a single right, but it's, it will divide into two sets of rights. One is moral rights, the second one is economic rights. Like this. And what's moral rights? I cannot go really detail, so I recommend you, if you want to know more, welcome to register the course in law school, especially mine. But before that, let's simply talk about the basic concept of the rights. For moral rights, there are two kinds, or three branches of the rights. The first one is right to publicly release the work. So some people say it's a one-time right, means when the author releases the work to the public, then the right just exhausted, eliminate. Okay, so authors can decide when, how, where to publicly release his work. All right. And the second one is the right to indicate his name. I think that's the most important one for the moral rights, because you can decide whether you want to put your name on your work, or how, what kind of name you put. For example, you want to put your real name, official name on your passport, or you can put the pseudonym of your on it, or just put no name on it. Okay, so that's the most important one, right, for author, because I don't know, in my experience, most of the authors who come and ask me questions, the first question is, can I put my name on the work? Because that's probably the most important thing for him or her. Okay? Then the third one is right to prohibit improper change of the work. Let's see the description. The author has the right to prohibit others from distorting, mutilating, or modifying, or otherwise changing the content, form, or name of the work, thereby damaging the author's reputation. So this right cannot be triggered just, once the author wants. It should be triggered by this condition, that the author's name, the reputation, has been damaged. And once that happens, then the author the right will be triggered. Okay? Then the second category of the right is economic rights. And there are so many branches. And the most important one is the first one.